Hey folks, and welcome to another edition of the Marcus Smart. I believe this is episode 18 now, if I'm not mistaken, which I've been mistaken a lot recently, so who actually knows, but we're going to go with episode 18. Today we've got a ton to cover. So we're going to cover Battleground from the weekend. We're going to cover our first episode of the new era Monday Night Raw and the new era of Smackdown Live. So we've got a lot to cover. Going forward, I'm gonna continue to release videos on Wednesday and on Friday. So on Wednesday, we'll have any pay-per-views from that weekend. We'll have a Raw and we'll have our Smackdown. And I'll tape that Wednesday mornings, which I'm taping this Wednesday morning. And you'll see Wednesday night by the time I get it uploaded. And on Friday, I'm going to be taping Impact, NXT, and CWC. And then you'll see that uploaded by Friday night. So Wednesdays and Fridays is what I'm aiming for. I know I'd be moving stuff around, trying to figure stuff out, but this is going to make the most sense, I think, going forward, and it keeps me to only 2 shows a week, which is going to make my life less insane right now. So, Wednesdays and Fridays, that's when we're going to be releasing. Let's get started. Right off the bat, I must say that I slept through most of this. I did go through and make sure I went back and rewatched it. Not because any of this was boring, but just had a rough weekend, lots of stuff to do this weekend, and it was just super worn out coming home. I didn't get to watch this until I think Monday night for Battleground, and just passed out. And so let's hope my notes are good and we can get through this. All right, so here we go. Only thing to note on the Battleground pre-show, there was this weird moment with Mick and Daniel Bryan where it sounded like Mick gave away Daniel Bryan going into the Hall of Fame, where he's like, oh, Daniel Bryan's already a Hall of Famer. Oh no, that didn't happen yet? Oh yeah, no. So that seemed weird. I wonder if that's a work or if that was a shoot and Daniel Bryan's heading into the Hall of Fame at this year's WrestleMania. It wouldn't surprise me. So who knows? Other thing on the pre-show for Battleground, we got Breezango versus the Usos, who are 2 Smackdown teams now. And we know, if you've watched this show, you know how much I've been pushing Breezango. I like Tyler Breeze in NXT. I think him and Fandango make a great pairing. And we actually saw Breezango get a win over the Usos on this one. So this is a team that's been struggling to get wins over any team, and they get a win over Breezango. Very, very happy with this outcome. Not only for Breezango, this is pushing Breezango forward, but this actually helps the Usos. The Usos need a fresh start. They need to rebound from Roman Reigns. They're not being supported by the WWE Universe as much as they had, and so giving them some struggle is only going to make them better. So having them struggle and lose a few matches, this will be fine for the Usos. It'll just give them a chance to build into a feud and build into something and come back from something. So I think this works for both teams, and it's a good way to push Breezango and start something interesting within the SmackDown tag division. Because, if this is just Usos dominating the whole division, which we've seen in the past with when we've done brand splits and we've had very small divisions, you end up with one tag team, which is how Paul London and Brian Kendrick basically were tag team champions for so long. So to start off with competition in the tag division is exciting for me. I like that. From there, we move to the main card. First match of the main card. By the way, I'm going to say, first of all, there is nothing on Battleground that I didn't like. There was almost nothing on Raw or Smackdown I didn't like. Smackdown, we'll get to Smackdown, but oh my gosh, what excellent pay-per-view this was. Just excellent. And Raw, the build-up and everything in Raw, we're just seeing the draft come together now. It's starting to make sense, and it's just coming together really nicely. So let's go forward. I'm not even going to bother. So I've decided I'm not even bothering splitting up into Walking the Line, or this wasn't, things that I didn't like, or Walking the Line, or things that I loved. This is all stuff. And I will say both Raw, I don't know, well, once we're done SmackDown, we'll talk about SmackDown. But definitely, if you didn't watch Battleground and you didn't watch Raw, then oh my God, go watch it! Like, seriously, this is the time to be watching WWE, and there's a couple reasons. There's just a few matches in here where you gotta watch these matches. These are great matches. So, Charlotte and Dana versus Banks and a mystery partner. Our mystery partner is no mystery. It's Bayley. Should we see how... sorry, I'm all over the place. I'm going to be scattered today. It's all right. I hope the two of you can forgive me for this. I hope I'll forgive myself, because when I rewatch it, I hope I don't ruin my own program for me, because this is my favorite program. So I hope I do a good job for myself. But let's see quickly out of how many matches do we have here. 1, 2, 3, 4. I could have done this before, but why? 5, 6, 7, 8 matches. Well, that's easy. That's standard for pay-per-view, 8 matches. But I just wanted to make sure. How many of those did I get right on my pre-show? I got the first one right. Woo! 1. Did I get this one right? I'm gonna say yes. 2. Did I get this one right? 3. This one right? No. This one right? No. That one right? No. That one right? No. That one right? Yeah. Well, I didn't have an answer for the last match. All right. Well, I'm batting less than 500. Wasn't a very successful preview. But you know what? I will say it was. I don't care if my preview is wrong, because that just means WWE surprised me. And that's good. They didn't surprise me with Bayley, so we'll get back to that. I just wanted to do a quick check, and it wasn't that good. But, all right. Banks and Bayley versus Charlotte and Dana. Absolutely amazing match. This is one of the matches you should go watch. Fantastic match. 4 women just giving it their all. Love this match. Loved seeing Bayley. Great reaction for Bayley. We end up getting Banks making Charlotte tap out to the bank statement. So that's a great match, and it sets up for what should be a build to SummerSlam between Banks and Charlotte, and that's a great way to do it. After that, we get New Day versus Wyatt's. And for me, I predicted that New Day would win unless there's some hoodoo voodoo. I would say that there was. It was limited, but whatever. Anyways, New Day wins with Sister Abigail, or not New Day. The Wyatts win with Sister Abigail. The one thing on here is Big E takes a bump so bad. It looks like he lands on his head. One of those dives to the outside. I just can't believe this man does it. I've talked about Big E's bumps before. They're just insane. And if you watch Raw the night after, there's a great sign right across from the hard cam that says, like, Big E, please stop taking bumps. Or please stop diving out of the ring. Such a great sign. And I almost feel the same way, except I love seeing him do it. But just a fantastic. The match was good. Yeah, the bump was fantastic. That was sick. And the match was good, entertaining. After that, we get Rusev with Lana versus Lana with Zack Ryder. Rusev wins by submission. We get a beatdown after, and Mojo runs out to help Zack Ryder. So Mojo debuts at this pay-per-view. It definitely looks like they're going to go with the Hype Bros, which I'm not a fan of as much as Zack Ryder by himself. I'm not a huge Mojo Rawley fan. But the WWE Universe seems to be behind him. I'm willing to let this go and see what it turns into. If the fans are behind him, hey, we'll see. Certainly didn't make Battleground worse. I thought it was really great having the Mojo run out, actually. This is a good time to debut him. He looked good in the run out with Rusev. The way it was done was really good, so I actually have really no complaints. After that, we get Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn, which is the, oh my God, you've got to watch this match of the night. Like, if you're not going to watch all of Battleground, go back and watch Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn just show you how it's done. There's so much stuff in here, like a suplex on the apron, some springboard, WTF, which I don't even know I wrote down here. Like, there's just so much these two guys are doing. You get 2 Helluva kicks on Kevin Owens, and Sami Zayn gets the clean win over Owens. This was really shocking to me. I didn't expect a clean win coming out of this. I expected them to be pushing this feud more and more and more. But who knows? Maybe they have different plans for Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, and now this smaller talent pool, and they need both of these guys to be focused elsewhere and not just on themselves. But I said before going into this match in the preview that if this is the last time we saw these guys, I would be disappointed. This was definitely not a match to disappoint. Yes, I wanted it on a bigger stage, SummerSlam, WrestleMania, something like that. But these guys, the career of Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn is not over. This feud may be over for now, but these guys are not over. And it may not be this year at WrestleMania, and it may not even be next year at WrestleMania. But I'm sure there's going to come one SummerSlam or one WrestleMania where we're going to see these two step back in the ring with each other, because they do amazing matches together. Fantastic match. After that, Natalya and Becky Lynch, and we get Natalya win with a sharpshooter. Interesting, having Natalya coming off strong. I thought they were going to give it to Becky Lynch to have her coming in strong, but they're playing this off as an angle on. Now I'm cheating because I've already seen SmackDown, but on SmackDown they're saying things like, Becky Lynch is the number one contender, but she lost at Battleground, or not the number one contender, the number one female draft pick from SmackDown, but she lost to Natalya. She has to prove herself. So there's storyline in there, and I see what they're doing. And like I said, I like being surprised. It was a good finish. I got no problem with that match. It was a good match like I said it was going to be. Great. Here's the only match I thought was a bit weird. Darren Young versus The Miz. I don't even know how this match ended. I wrote down DQ maybe, question mark. I don't even know what happened. Lana got in, pretended to fall down. You know what? I was so sleeping. All I remember is for some reason Bob Backlund rips his shirt off, looks freaking insane, and he ends up leaving with Darren Young and him with Backlund with his shirt ripped off. And I thought it was great. I thought the ending was great, and the way Backlund was great. And what else could they do with this? I don't think they wanted the IC title on Raw anyways, so Miz had to win. This was a way for Miz to win without taking anything away from Darren Young. I really like Darren Young. I like Bob Backlund. I like where this is headed. I think this guy's got potential. I'm absolutely ready to make Darren Young great again, but not America. I don't want to make America great again. So, no Trump supporters. If you're a Trump supporter, you could just get off my friggin' YouTube channel now. I don't want you watching me. Sorry. But we'll make Darren Young back great again. I know I only have 2 people, and I should just take anybody I can get. But if that means both of them left, well, I gotta just say what I think, right? Whatever. Anyways, this is obviously going to be a real squirrely podcast for me today. A real squirrely recording. I'm all over the place in my head. Enzo, Cass, and Cena versus the Club. We got a middle rope AA for the win. For this match didn't deliver for me as much as I wanted it to. This match could have been better, but it wasn't a bad match for sure. The middle rope AA was really surprising. I really didn't think there was any reason for Cena, Enzo, and Cass to take it. I really think, oh my gosh, what was that? I really think that the Club should have stayed strong and taken this win, but what can you do? It wasn't bad. I just thought the Club should stay strong. Highlight reel, Randy Orton was on that. The only thing that was really of any importance, it's been all over the wrestling world, is that at some point during it he says that he can beat Brock Lesnar because he only has to use 1 RKO to do it, and he doesn't need, and no enhancements are needed. Taking a shot at Brock Lesnar. I've read, oh my God, what is going on? Clearly I'm not getting enough oxygen in. Randy Orton, no enhancement needed. That's where I was. I've heard people say that it was scripted, it wasn't scripted. I don't know. Either way, I think it at least addresses the fact, which it needs to be addressed. I still am absolutely shocked that the WWE plans on not doing this, which I did give them a big down for. But I did actually read that their part-time talent does not need to submit to any sort of wellness policy, that it's only for their full-time talent that work over 200 plus days a year that they have the wellness policy, and the wellness policy is only to ensure the health of those talents. It's not there to enforce any competition, because they stated WWE is not a competition. It is a scripted program. So based on that, Brock Lesnar is not a full-time talent, and it doesn't matter if he took any performance-enhancing substances, because they're not doing it for those reasons. So as much as I didn't like it, and as much as I gave him a big down for it, it's hard to argue with that logic. If Brock Lesnar never signed a wellness contract with WWE, then he never did. It's not part of his contract. And if Undertaker doesn't, and if any of these other part-time guys don't, then they don't. You know, and yeah, does it seem unfair to Roman Reigns maybe? And to, you know, some of the other guys who've been recent, Adam Rose, and people who've recently had wellness policy violations? Sure, it seems unfair, but hey, dude, that was your contract going in. You know what you signed. This guy signed a different contract over here, and he knows what he signed. So, as far as Brock Lesnar is concerned, he really didn't do anything wrong in the WWE's eyes, and I kind of see that now. I see their point. So, I still don't like it. I don't know. There's just something icky about it, but I'm going to leave it, and I'm going to move on. I still don't like the Orton-Lesnar match at SummerSlam just because of the no-build aspect of it. And then they're trying to build without ever having these guys in the ring together, though. But I think that's really hard. So I'm not... My gosh! I swear I'm going to fall asleep while recording. I clearly have not caught back up on my sleep from this weekend. Anyways. Yeah. I'm still not super pumped for this match. For me, it just doesn't have... There's nothing on the line. What's the conflict? What's the essential conflict driving this match? What's on the line? You know what I mean? I don't know. So, anyways, moving on. Rollins, Ambrose, and Roman Reigns. I said I couldn't pick a winner because I had no idea what was going on with the title belts. And I said I certainly could see it going Ambrose and going to Smackdown and leaving Raw in the lurch. My goodness. I might as well just stop. I might as well just stop. I don't even know what is going on. All right. Woo! Just slow down. We're gonna take it down a level right here. We're gonna take it down a notch. I can't believe this is my first podcast of the week and it's going like this. You'd think by Wednesday I'd be ready to go. Ambrose ends up winning it. Dirty Deeds on Roman Reigns, which I thought was a nice little twist, not on Rollins, and he ends up taking the belt to SmackDown with him. I thought this was definitely a possibility. My only thing I didn't think was a possibility was Roman Reigns winning. I didn't think Roman Reigns was going to win, and he didn't. That's it. That's Battleground. I think that was an excellent card. I think, I would honestly be hard-pressed to look at that card, including the pre-show, and pick out and single out one single bad match from there. That is good booking. That was great booking. There's some things I would have done a little differently, but who cares? That was great booking. Some surprising things in there. Some amazing matches in there. For a pay-per-view that I just wanted to get over so we could get to Raw and SmackDown, this pay-per-view delivered. And I said that in my preview. I said, I don't see a bad match in here. And you know what? There wasn't. There wasn't any bad matches. It was a great pay-per-view. Moving on to Raw. Just another thing I was just so happy with. I was just so happy with the way Raw turned out. We open up with Nitro commentary. So instead of, if that doesn't mean anything to you, then you don't go back far enough in wrestling to know what that means. But traditionally, WWE's always done commentary. Actually, NXT does Nitro commentary, I believe. Yeah. But so maybe there's another name, but I'm going to continue to call it Nitro commentary because that's where I know it from. Where you have your commentary away from your ringside and kind of up on a little perch looking down. Traditionally, WWE's done it at ringside, but in the past they have for WrestleManias and stuff. They've done commentary very far away. I remember one with Jesse Ventura and Vince McMahon doing one. I can't remember the WrestleMania, and they were up in a box. So WWE has done it different ways. I thought it's nice to kind of separate the brands and make it a little different and do Raw with the Nitro style commentary. I didn't mind that at all. We got our new commentary team, Corey Graves and Michael Cole and Byron Saxton, which I think is definitely a really good commentary team going forward now. We get Mick and Steph in the ring, and they announce that they're not going to allow their brand to not have a singles champion, a single male champion, so that they're going to bring out their own belt, and it will be the WWE Universal Champion, which I totally understand, the WWE Universal Champion, where they're getting that from, but to me, it just sounds dumb. It just doesn't sound, when it goes into my ears, right. But you know what? The more something's said, the better it sounds. So maybe like in a year, the Universal Champion will just make sense to me. But I just feel like in wrestling, we've been using the words World Champion or World Heavyweight Champion or Heavyweight Champion for so long, like for decades, that it's going to be odd to get used to this Universal Champion. But there's all sorts of, in wrestling, there is all sorts, yo. There is all sorts of title belts and all sorts of names, so who knows? This might work. I got no problem with the belt itself. Like, the concept of the belt, coming out with a belt, absolutely they should. Yeah, if they're not going to have title belts float, then Raw needs a champion. So, perfect, Universal Championship. And then they announced 2 Fatal 4-Ways for and then the winners of those Fatal 4-Ways going on to meet later that night to see who the number 1 contender is going to be for Seth Rollins, because they're saying Seth Rollins didn't lose the championship. Roman Reigns lost it for him, right? So Roman Reigns lost it to Ambrose, not Rollins. So he shouldn't be punished. So he's going to go on to SummerSlam to face whoever the winner of these 2 Fatal 4-Ways are. So our first Fatal 4-Way is Cesaro, Rusev, Kevin Owens, and Finn Balor. Like, oh my God. Oh my God. What a freaking match, man. Honestly, Kevin Owens, have I ever complained about a Kevin Owens fight? No. Cesaro? No. Finn Balor? No. Am I big on Rusev? Yes. Having these 4 in this match for the title, are these for the 4 people I want to see out here? Yes. Did they put on an amazing match? Yes. Can you complain about this? If you're brain dead, this was amazing. Balor ends up winning it with a coup de grace. Just totally shocking. Great reaction for Balor from the Raw crowd. I would have liked to see an even bigger reaction, but he's not as known as, say, maybe like an AJ Styles. But great reaction for him coming out on his first night, winning this match. Like, WWE is sending a statement, really, that this is really the new era. Like, I really liked Finn winning this. It wasn't the same crap that we're used to seeing week after week. Not that it's all crap, but you know what I'm saying. Moving on from there, we get Nia Jax versus Britt Baker. So this is a squash match, and there's going to be another one of these on Raw too. So this is interesting. We get 2 squash matches because it's interesting to me, because the point of this, and technically I will even say 3 squash matches, but we'll get to that. This is supposed to be giving more people an opportunity with this brand split, and then 2 of the matches are squash matches against people who aren't even on the Raw roster. So I got a bit of a problem with that, but then I think, well, what's worse, squashing someone I don't know or taking somebody else from the roster and burying them and squashing them? So, you have to balance that out. And the 2 people they used it for are people who can squash. Like, they're monsters and they want them to look like monsters, so they want them to squash somebody. So is it better that they just squash a nobody, or is it better that they squash actually somebody off the roster? It's up for debate. I've seen it done in Infinity Wrestling, which is Smash's off-brand. There's a guy on the indie scene named Maybach Beta, big Polish powerhouse, and he went undefeated for a long time, and they really built him. And they did it by not necessarily bringing in, for some of his matches, they brought in guys that don't normally work on Infinity. I think for the first couple, but then after that he built into more normal workers. So if this is the end of these squash matches, if we see this one this week or maybe one more next week, and then the character moves on from there, then I don't have a problem with it for building these characters. If we just start seeing squash matches just for the hell of it and everybody's having squash matches, that doesn't make sense. But if we want to highlight these two people as monsters and this is how we're going to kick it off and then it's going to move on from there, then I don't have a problem with Nia Jax squashing Brie Baker before she moves on. Britt Baker before she moves on. It's a Brie Baker to make your Brie, cheese. Anyways, Britt Baker, Nia Jax squash. Yeah, she had it was her debut in the squash. That's fine. I don't have a problem with that. We get the boss backstage talking about her match because it was also announced that we're gonna get Charlotte and the boss tonight in a rematch. Well, not in a rematch, but because Charlotte submitted to Boss on Battleground, we're gonna see them face off for the women's title tonight on Raw, which is really cool. I guess they're trying to make a Raw seem really big. Anyways, Boss was backstage with Tom Phillips and stuff. Golden Truth came in playing Pokemon or something. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, maybe that wasn't one of the things that I loved about Raw. But anyways, moving on from there, we get our second Fatal 4-Way. Jericho versus Sheamus versus Zayn versus Roman. This Fatal 4-Way for me was not the same as the first Fatal 4-Way. Jericho's been great recently. Zayn, obviously. Sheamus, I'm not really huge on. And, Roman, I'm not really huge on, but I don't got a problem like everybody else has a problem with Roman. Like, I'm not one of those Roman people. We end up getting Spear for the win by Roman. It definitely wasn't the match that the first one was, and I don't know how it could be just with who was in that first match was so good. But it was a good match, and I don't mind Roman winning. That wasn't a problem. Sets up a really intriguing Roman Reigns versus Finn Balor for the end of Raw. We get a New Day celebration. They bring in Sonny Boy, whoever that is, and do it's almost like an Abbott and Costello routine, who's on first, with this fan or something whose name is Sonny Boy. You can watch it if you want. I'm not going to speak about it anymore. Anyways, Gallows and Anderson just came out and destroyed them. And interrupted their celebration of they were celebrating their longest reigning WWE Tag Team Champions by surpassing the two guys I mentioned earlier, Paul London and Brian Kendrick. After that, we get Curtis Axel versus Neville. Neville wins with the Red Arrow. This is the third kind of squash match where, Curtis Axel didn't really do much. Neville basically destroyed him. We get Darren with Backlund in the back. G-Truth interrupts that. Golden Truth, sorry, I just am short forming Golden Truth to G-Truth now. Golden Truth interrupts that segment, playing Pokemon as well. Then we get Boss versus Charlotte. How was that match? That match was like, what do you call that again? You call it, oh my God, you've got to see this! Like Boss and Charlotte, oh my gosh! Man, I'm telling you, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Sasha Banks, and Charlotte, they have things in common. They're friends, and they're friends. And I've heard it said in wrestling, and it's not the same in Ultimate Fighting. It's literally the reverse of Ultimate Fighting. When you get friends and sparring partners going against each other in Ultimate Fighting Championship, a lot of times they hold things back. They don't really go for it. They want to avoid fighting each other. When you get two wrestlers who are friends in the ring, I've heard it said that it is an insult that if you don't give that guy everything you have, you want to push that other person further than they've ever been pushed. And boy, did we get two better examples of that than Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn last night or on Battleground, and then Charlotte versus Sasha Banks on Raw. For a Raw match, this was definitely what WWE would call pay-per-view quality matchup. Or WrestleMania quality matchup. This was a WrestleMania quality matchup on Raw. If I saw this match on WrestleMania, I would say thumbs up. That was a great WrestleMania match. So to have Charlotte and the Boss throw down this type of match on Raw was phenomenal. Sasha almost killed herself with a crazy suicide dive. Charlotte hits a freaking moonsault off the top rope to the outside that just looks insane. This whole match looks so good. The intensity and the emotion of these two women are just insane. They both look like they're just going to break down in tears before the match is even over. Like they just look spent, like they've given it every last thing that they had, and they put it all into this match. And then when they win, and Sasha's in the ring and she's emotional, and Charlotte's outside of the ring and she's emotional, and the fans are chanting, "You deserve it." What a great moment. What a great moment to be part of the first episode of this new Raw. Way to start off big. What a freaking match. And I think Michael Cole says, I think we might have just witnessed our main event of the evening. Hell yeah, you did, because there's nothing else on this card that came close to this match. Amazing. After that, we get Braun Strowman versus James Ellsworth. He's the next just guy to get absolutely destroyed. I actually thought Ellsworth was pretty funny. Well, he looks a little awkward, and then he kind of cut a little promo in the ring with Byron Saxton. I like that they're doing this kind of in-ring interviews. Byron's leaving the commentary station and going to do a little interview segments, and Renee Young did it on Smackdown as well. I think it's working nice instead of just always doing the backstage segments. But yeah, he cut a little promo, and then Braun came out debuting a new haircut with his hair braided and a little braid down to the side. And I'm telling you, just fixing his hair, man, I'm sold on this guy just with the new look. The dude, just instead of looking goofy, because I really felt Braun Strowman, although he's a big dude, looked a little goofy as part of the Wyatts. And I'm telling you, they changed his hair and he looks scary, man. Scary. And he came out and obviously decimated this guy who makes me look like a tough guy. And he did his new finisher. I hope it's his new finisher because it looks freaking killer, which is a reverse choke slam. So instead of like slamming him this way, he grabs him by the back of the neck and just throws him like face first into the mat. Just looked like so brutal. So again, same with Nia Jax. I get it. You want Strowman and you want Jax both looking strong, and maybe you don't want to bury one of your other guys. It's a small roster. You don't want to start off by burying guys, so you're going to do some squash matches. That's fine, as long as it continues on from here, and as long as it doesn't happen to other people. Like, as long as it's not Curtis Axel winning against James Ellsworth, because that doesn't make sense. Curtis Axel's not a beast that needs to just dominate someone. It makes sense to Braun Strowman's character. So character specific, it makes sense. It's like when they brought in two people to lose to Enzo and Cass when they did that wave match, and they did a wave and Enzo ran around and they beat people in 2 seconds. At that time, I said this whole match was trash, because it was just total trash. But at least they didn't make like the Vaudevillains lose that match. At least they brought somebody else in to lose that match. So maybe it's the same here, where at least they had the courtesy of bringing somebody else in to lose and not making someone take that squash. After that, I don't know, there's some other Golden Truth segment. They're all through here playing Pokemon. It eventually, oh, here it is. I was going to say it eventually ends in something, but it's the next match. Enzo and Cass versus Shining Stars. Golden Truth ends up coming out to the ring, I guess, still looking for their Pokemon. They make a distraction. Edge and Christian. Enzo and Cass. I just have ENC down, so I'm like, Edge and Christian. Enzo and Cass get the win, and I guess Shining Stars are upset. Maybe Shining Stars are going to go into a program with Golden Truth. Aren't we all excited for that program? That's going to be a real winner. Yeah, moving on. All right, I can't believe that was our second last match of the evening. I can't believe that match happened after Boss Charlotte. All right. I still can't believe Sasha Banks is the winner. Did I even say Sasha Banks was the winner? That she won that match? I don't even know if I did. But she made Charlotte tap out with the Banks statement, and Sasha Banks is the winner. I did say the fans were chanting, "You deserve it." So, and that she was celebrating in the ring. Yeah, but I don't think I clearly said it. Anyways. Roman Reigns versus Finn Balor is the final match of the night, and Balor ends up winning over Roman Reigns in the coup de grace. Very interesting match. Roman's way oversized compared to Finn Balor and was really tossing him around. And really dominated that match, and then Balor just kind of, at the end, was able to get a few moves in a row and hit the coup de grace and get a win. setting up, I think, a really, really nice match. Seth Rollins versus Finn Balor at SummerSlam, a match we have not seen before. Much, much better than setting up Rollins Roman Reigns at Battleground, which is a match we have seen before. So very, very interesting booking. Not Battleground. What's the next pay-per-view? SummerSlam? Am I saying? I say the wrong thing all the time. But yeah, SummerSlam. Looking interesting. Moving on to SmackDown. SmackDown, I'll just say, wasn't as good for me for two main reasons. WWE or Raw came in and addressed the big questions. What's happening with the world title? SmackDown has no tag team division, no women's division, and made no attempt to address this issue. They came in and said, hey, we got big things happening, and we need to get on top of this and get us a number one contender for SummerSlam for our world title. But what about your women and what about your tag teams? How is that not a priority? So that was a concern for me. But we get Shane and Daniel and the entire roster in the ring. They say Backlash will be their first SmackDown-only pay-per-view in September. They call out Ambrose, and they say they're going to have a six-pack challenge. Later tonight, they introduce 5 people who are going to be in that challenge and say the sixth person will be the winner of a Battle Royal, which will happen right now. Again, this is their second Battle Royal we've seen in a while. We got Darren Young winning the last Battle Royal for going on to face The Miz at Battleground. I have no problem with Battle Royals. This is a little bit close together for me for the last Battle Royal, but I got no problem with them. And I have a note here that says, Del Rio is the only real candidate in this. And then my next note says, and he's out. Because honestly, there's nobody else in this match that should be like going for the world title other than Del Rio. But that was not the case. Our final 4 came down to Zack Ryder. Excellent IC title. Like, that guy should be going for the IC title, no problem. Kane, who's filler for me. Kalisto, who absolutely is at that Intercontinental level. And Apollo, who's like absolutely at that Intercontinental level. None of those guys I see at that world title level, other than the obvious choice. Like, how are you ignoring Alberto Del Rio? But you are, I guess. And Apollo ends up winning. I don't hate this because it was Apollo. Like, if it was like Kane or something, that, you know, that would have been... I would have actually rather seen Kalisto, honestly, win this whole thing. Once it got down to who it got down to, I would have rather seen Kalisto, just because I think he would have added a different dynamic to the six-pack challenge that I think wasn't there and would have been more interesting than Apollo. But Apollo's a young guy. Giving a chance to a young guy is not a bad thing in my books. So Apollo wins. After that, we get a Ziggler video. Him talking about the glass ceiling in WWE, and basically like he wants to break the glass ceiling, and all he's ever wanted was an opportunity, and now he gets one. We get a rematch, Natalya versus Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch takes this one with a disarmer, so now we've got Natalya winning one, Becky winning one. Maybe we're going to see them build to SummerSlam. Maybe even... Oh, man. I'm rubbing my nose, and it's bad. And I shouldn't do it on camera. Hopefully we see them building to SummerSlam for a final settlement of this feud. Hopefully for a women's title. But they haven't even addressed that. So, but that's a good match, right? And this is what I mean. I like going down SmackDown. You're not gonna see a lot of stuff where I'm like, oh, that was terrible. Why'd they do that? It's just like, what? I just wanted more. I wanted more from SmackDown. After Battleground and Raw, I was just like, and next is SmackDown. Because SmackDown was honestly the program I expected the most from. To be the most different, to be the come out the hardest out of the gate, to be like in your face, here we go, new era. Boom! SmackDown Live. Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon running the new show. And I didn't feel that at all. I felt that's how Raw came out. Raw was like, new Raw, here we are. New champions, new people, new opportunities, new setup, new commentary. Like, Raw felt new. And SmackDown feels a little bit like SmackDown. So, Miz and Maurice come out, something... Yeah, probably for the... Oh, they come out for Miz Report, Miz Show, Miz TV. And Randy comes out and challenges The Miz. He won't give him an IC title fight, so he says, no, an IC title fight. But he said he doesn't have to wait till SummerSlam. He can debut now. So this is great, and Orton ends up beating Miz in a non-title match. I'm not sure why the feud with Miz, but who cares? Like, Orton debuting is really good. Getting Orton back in the mix right away, wrestling, is good because honestly, SmackDown doesn't have huge depth, so they need everybody working. We get an American Alpha's video package. They're going to be debuting next week. That was a bit sad for me. I really wish we had seen American Alpha come out this week. I think they were one of the top picks from SmackDown, where we saw Braun Strowman, one of the the more interesting picks from Raw. We saw him. We saw Nia Jax. We saw Finn Balor. We saw these new people come in. I was a little disappointed we didn't see American Alphas in action. In fact, we didn't have a single tag match at all during SmackDown. So, we did we? No, we didn't. We didn't see a single tag match during SmackDown. So I don't know how that bodes for the SmackDown tag division. Anyways, the American Alphas. We get Heath Slater comes out. Oh, and beats up a jobber. So I guess there's a jobber in ring. We're not even getting a match, but he's waiting for a match. And Heath Slater comes out and beats him up. Shane comes out and Heath's like, you need to hire me. I'm the hottest free agent on the market. Like, why wouldn't you sign me? And then for some reason, Rhino's hiding under the ring and he comes up from under the ring and he crushes Heath Slater with the gore, gore, gore. And Rhino becomes the newest draft pick or the newest signee for SmackDown Live. So I like this. I was like, I didn't love that he lost his match to Samoa Joe, but I like kind of how they build him up in NXT. And I thought, well, maybe they're just going to keep him here for a second and send him up to one of the main shows. And that's exactly what they did. So, hey, perfect. And I'm glad to see Rhino. And I think SmackDown Live's a good home for him. They definitely have depth issues. Once you get out of the top 5 male superstars, they definitely need more depth there. I think Rhino's a great addition to SmackDown Live. And especially depth issues if Zack Ryder is going to be part of the Bro Me team instead of on his own. So I think that's great. We get a Styles video package, him talking just about his opportunity. He's one of the 6-pack challenge people, and then we get the 6-pack challenge, and we end up having Ziggler win with a super kick. And so, out of all the 6, I don't know if I ever said the 6 guys who were competing in it, but we know Apollo Crews was one of them. AJ Styles was one of them. John Cena was one of them. Baron Corbin was one of them. Dolph Ziggler was one of them. And somebody else was one of them. I forget who the last person in 6-pack challenge was. The bottom line was, did I say AJ Styles? But anyways, of all the people in this match, Ziggler was not the person I thought was going to win. I really was hoping SmackDown Live would give Ziggler the opportunity to kind of reboost his career. This felt like a little nail on the head, though. Ziggler's being held down. Ziggler's being held down. First new SmackDown. Oh, and Ziggler's now in the championship match at SummerSlam. To me, Dolph Ziggler versus Dean Ambrose, 2 faces in the main event, in the SmackDown main event for SummerSlam. I just don't like it as much. I want Ziggler to get the chance, but I want Ziggler to work at the chance, to change his character around, to move it around, to change heel, to do something different, whatever it is, to revitalize himself, other than just win a match and get a title shot. But who cares? At least he got the title shot. It's not terrible, and the match wasn't terrible. I just Ambrose Ziggler face off with Daniel and Shane in the ring, and then that's the end of SmackDown. So, I don't have anything cutesy. I don't got any thumbs up and thumbs down. I kind of was just rushing to get this show out here today. It's just been a bit of a tough couple days for me. I hope you enjoyed it, though. I know I definitely enjoyed watching Battleground Raw and SmackDown. I definitely enjoyed Battleground and Raw more. You definitely should. Those shows are definitely worth checking out. And at the very least, Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn, Charlotte versus the Boss Sasha Banks. Those 2 matches are fabulous. And I think that really, maybe that's what even on Raw, that first Fatal 4-Way with Cesaro and Kevin Owens and Finn Balor, that's like, even the other one with Roman Reigns, like there's just so many matches on Raw. There's so much stuff on Battleground too for you to check out and to watch and to sink your teeth into. And there just wasn't that on SmackDown. And that's what I think my issue with SmackDown was. Not that I didn't like it, but I just thought this should have been the show that really comes out of the gate. And I'm just like looking over it and I'm just like, what was the match that did it for you on SmackDown? And it's not there. It's just not there. The 6-pack challenge didn't even like deliver on that same level that the Fatal 4-Way did on Raw. So I think that's tough when there's not like 1 or 2 matches that really deliver. I think it makes it tough. So for me, in the battle of Raw versus SmackDown, SmackDown Live loses big time this week. Big time. They really need to address their tag division. They really need to address their women's division. What's happening with that? And they really need to put on some good shows. We need some big matches. If you're competing with Raw and you're this new brand, and I said this before, Raw almost doesn't have to do anything. We know who Raw is. And they still, I feel like, did more to enhance what Raw already was. Where SmackDown didn't do anything, I thought, to differentiate themselves. Any of the things Daniel Bryan and Shane have been talking about. I don't think, the superstars being the focus of the show, they didn't seem to be any more of the focus of the show than on Raw. The way the show's shot, looks, feels, it's all going to be different. Didn't see any of that. Just nothing, really. Nothing. In no way did SmackDown deliver. In no way was it a bad show. But in no way did it deliver on any of the promises of what it should have been. So, anyways, I'll be watching it all next week again. Hopefully you will too. Hopefully you'll be tuning in. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, The Marcus Smart. Follow me on Facebook, my Facebook page, The Marcus Smart, or at Marcus Smart on Twitter. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.